This is Sarah. Nothing fires her up quite like helping her community. She fought for these new streetlights.
I stick with it until it happens. That's pretty much how I work.
Regular trash collection.
And everybody said that would never happen. They are not going to have garbage pickup in North Haven.
And the $250,000 renovation of this park.
My purpose is to serve and to serve others and be a part of change for the good.
It's safe to say any neighborhood would be damn lucky to have her. But in her effort to improve her small corner of the world, there's one thing Sarah isn't allowed to do.
I can't vote.
Tennessee. Tennessee. Tennessee.
Welcome to Tennessee.
Lord, we don't have democracy in Tennessee.
Violations of the Voting Rights Act.
Lowest score when it comes to democracy.
Sarah's lived here since she was a kid. It's where she raised her children and her grandchildren, and where she now heads her neighborhood association.
I am your president.
But it's also where, back in 1992,
I got into a fight with a lady. It was a choice that I made in the heat of a moment that changed my life forever.
Sarah was convicted of aggravated assault, and like nearly all Americans convicted of a felony, Sarah lost her right to vote. But if Sarah lived in almost any other state, she'd be able to get her voting rights back.
Governor Steve Sisolak signed a bill today that restores the right to vote.
Restoring voting rights to 50,000 plus Minnesotans.
Because keeping people from voting after they've paid their debt to society is unfair and undemocratic. But not Tennessee. Its Republican-controlled government continues to march proudly in the opposite direction. As a result, 21% of black adults in Tennessee have lost their right to vote because of a felony conviction. It's the highest rate in the country. That's over 200,000 people. The good news is, Tennessee has a path for reclaiming voting rights. The bad news is, the process is absurdly complicated. Here's what the Tennessee bureaucrats lined up for Sarah if she wants to vote in November. First, the state requires her to restore what are called her rights of citizenship. There's a couple ways to do this. She could file a request for the governor to pardon her, which includes gathering 5 letters of recommendation, writing a cover letter, writing a detailed 1-page narrative of her crime and tracking down a certified copy of your criminal history report, certified copy of each judgment conviction for which you are requesting a certified copy of the order granting probation, certified copy of the orders of discharge from the probation and or copies of diplomas, degrees, certificates, and professional licenses, copy of any outstanding fines or forfeitures. Also, out of everyone who applied for clemency in the last fiscal year, only 3% were granted. Her other option is to hire a lawyer and try to convince a judge to restore her rights. This will cost her at least a couple grand. Who doesn't have a couple grand lying around? And many more grands if she needs to appeal. And get this, she'll also need to convince a judge to give her her gun rights back, because in Tennessee, the right to bear arms is a right of citizenship. So if Sarah wants to restore her voting rights, the judge must also restore her gun rights.
What?
But wait, there's more. Sarah needs to get her hands on a document called a Certificate of Restoration, which certifies that she's completed her probation and paid off all her court costs and restitution. She could ask a probation officer to fill it out, but they may send her to the county clerk's office, who is going to need her to pay off any outstanding fines or fees she might have. She's pretty sure she's paid off all her debts, but she'll need the paperwork to prove it. And then she'll have to return to the clerk's office again, hoping they'll fill out the form. If Tennessee lawmakers designed this process to keep nearly 500,000 people from voting, they've been wildly successful. Guess how many have succeeded in restoring their voting rights between 2020 and 2022? Less than 1%.
Makes me feel like they're saying I'm not a citizen. You just here, like I'm a foreigner in my own country. It makes you want to give up.
Healthy democracies represent the will of the people. So when a state prevents nearly 10% of adults from voting, the process is broken. Some might say, that's the price of doing crime. But don't we believe in rehabilitation? In 2020, voting rights groups sued the state of Tennessee. The case is awaiting trial. But there's another way for the state to restore voting rights. Governor Bill Lee could follow the example of fellow Republican Governor Kim Reynolds, who used her executive power to do this.
Quite simply, when someone serves their sentence and pays the price our justice system has set for their crimes, they should have their right to vote restored automatically, plain and simple.
So what's the holdup, Governor Lee? You worried Sarah will turn Tennessee blue?
Who do you think you would vote for?
I might vote for Trump. I get banned from everything about I was gonna vote for Trump. But hey,